Jeffrey M. Benek. He just got a ClickFunnels tattoo. What?
All right, looks like we are live. What's up, everybody? I am honored today to have on Funnel Doc Live Steve Larsen, the man, the offer god himself here, to be able to drop some knowledge on us and just bless us with his presence. Welcome to the show, Steve. Appreciate you being on.
Well, thanks for having me, man. You're blowing up.
Yeah, we're doing pretty decent. You know, we've been blessed that we've had a good growth because of the internet and positioning of ClickFunnels and everything like that. I know we have a limited time, so I just like to jump into some questions here.
Yeah.
Now I know that you've had your story where we've talked about you've got the M16 lined out and you're in .com secrets, but where was the actual pivotal moment when you're like, you know what? Russell is on to something. This is it. I have to go all in. I'm going to Funnel Hacking Live. When was that exact moment? When did that happen? And what was your thought when that happened?
You know, I naturally trust people. I just do. You know what I mean? I'm not a skeptic. I'm a healthy skeptic, I should say. I do question a lot of things, but so when he stood up, or when I saw him on his videos, actually, you know what it was, I was taking this is before I ever read .com Secrets. I took his course called .com Secrets X.
Right.
That 90-day course. I went through every single video, took notes on every single day, and I still have the booklet. It's this big fat booklet with all the notes on there. And there was so much that I took from him, and I was like, holy smokes, you know, I did the whole course, literally line by line, and I just pressed pause like every 2 minutes and took notes so I could act like I was gonna teach it back to somebody. So when I saw his ClickFunnels thing, I was like, I just believed him. Like, you know, it wasn't like there wasn't any kind of like reservation at all. In fact, I read .com Secrets kind of before ClickFunnels came out. And again, same thing. I was like, I just believe him. I believed him. I was like, this is awesome. Oh no, it would have been after it came out. But anyway, there was a moment for me though, when I remember I sat back, I was in our freezing little apartment, and I got up and I walked into our bathroom, and I just looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, I'm gonna be the best funnel builder in the world. And am I? I have no idea. Probably not. Actually, I don't really keep up with it that much anymore. You know, I just don't have the time, you know, but the pursuit of that is what changed everything for me. And that's what I think everyone should go do, is like plant a flag somewhere, right? And anyway, that was a big moment.
Nice. So I know that's perfect. So what was your thought process behind when you went to Funnel Hacking Live? You obviously you were sort of like almost, I believe, Dream 100 Russell a little bit, trying to get into his life and let him see you.
Yeah. Was
that your intention when you went to Funnel Hacking? I mean, what was your thought? I mean, I don't think you were like, I'm going to get a job at ClickFunnels, or was it?
No, I had no intentions of working there at all, ever, my whole life. Yeah, when I got there, my whole role in going to Funnel Hacking Live, I wanted to go the first year that they were doing it, but my first daughter was due to be born like at the same time. That would not have gone well if I was not there. Obviously, I'm gonna go to my daughter's birth. So, but I knew I wanted to go to the next one, and so that gave me and I already knew that. So what was cool is it gave me that full year to figure out how to get tickets to go, and I didn't have money. That's when I was trading the tickets for the funnels for the plane tickets and the hotel nights and all that stuff. And I couldn't explain it. I just knew that if I got there and I was just in the room, like I was so nervous to go that I was nervous of feeling outclassed, right? I was nervous of like, oh man, if there's that many millionaires there, like I have nothing of value to give to them. You know, that was the big fears. And a lot of people have those. That's why I bring it up. It's like, I had a huge amount of those fears. And my wife and I we had conversations about this where we would kind of like plan out what I could talk about, you know? It was like, because I was nervous about it. It wasn't about me so much Dream 100ing Russell going. I just knew that those were my people. And in all of college, all of high school, all of elementary school, when someone asked me the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? I never had an answer. And it was when I saw ClickFunnels and I started having some success for some clients I was building for. I still didn't learn how to charge, so I was still broke, but I was having success for them. I just knew this is what I wanted to do with my life. And for me, after having gone through a whole childhood, never being able to answer that question, it was a big deal. So it was out of true intent of just wanting to learn and go soak up and soak in. And I took 52 pages of notes that event and was appalled to see empty notebooks all over the chairs when people left. I was like, what the freak are you people doing here? Like, why are you here if you're not? Anyway, another topic. But when I walked in though, I had done enough Dream 100ing style stuff to Russell that he kind of did like a triple take when he saw me. And then my face was on one of his slides because I had done so many commenting on his stuff. He screenshotted one of his latest products and it happened to capture some of the comments. And my face was the first one on there, and that's why he was like, how do I know you? When we actually got to sit down.
That's so awesome, man. So when you got hired at ClickFunnels, like, even though you built funnels and you knew Russell was gonna mentor you, like, how scary was that, man?
Hugely.
I mean, can you talk on that a little bit, please?
Well, I had major imposter syndrome. I felt like I had snuck in under the door. I was good at building the funnel itself, and I thought that's what made the money. This is what was so interesting is building hundreds of sales funnels over there. I was still broke, largely, you know. It wasn't until I learned how to be a marketer that I started making money with my funnels. Super interesting. That little distinction right there, this like blows my mind. Because I mean, I was very nervous that I was going to get found out. I was very nervous that in fact, I think the first 2 months, I really didn't say anything. We sat back to back. They're over to my left just a little bit, back to back. And like this far away, literally, was his back. And this is an old office. I had 2 monitors. He had 3, and his face would reflect off of his monitor into mine, into my face. So I would like see, and I was like, don't look at that monitor if nothing's on it, because I'm like looking at him. And I didn't say anything the first like 2 or 3 months I was there, and because I was so nervous. I mean, literally, it was about that long. It's not a hyperbole on that. And I was freaked out because I was like, this dude, I just killed myself trying to make sure I could over deliver for him. And pretty much every funnel I'd send back to him, he would destroy it.
Really?
And I'd be like, I'm gonna get fired from this job. And about 6 months in, I literally came back home and said that to my wife. She goes, what's wrong? I said, I think, back to our little apartment we were living now at Boise now at that time. I was like, I'm gonna get fired. She's like, I thought you were doing a great job. I thought I was too, but everything I do for him, he sends back and murders half of it, at least, and says like, you gotta start back over again. And I was like, oh, I've spent 2 or 3 days of just grinding work on these funnels. And piece by piece, he'd be like, okay, now here's this part, I'm only gonna kill 80% this time. Now 79, now 77. And it was like that. It wasn't until about over a year we had moved offices when I walked in one day and he goes, hey, that funnel looks great. I just changed 1 word in your headline. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, right? And it like 200 funnels had gone under my belt by that time, at least. And he goes, what? I was like, I don't think you get, like, I thought you were going to fire me for a long time. Like, he goes, no, you're a fantastic funnel builder. I was like, I know, but from my eyes, you never accepted a single funnel. And he goes, your role is to develop the clay and do the 80% heavy lifting of thinking through the heavy clay so that I don't have to and I can make fast decisions. And I was like, oh, I thought I was here to build you these funnels out of the box. He goes, no, I'm always going to change something. But along that way, me having that misunderstanding, but still that like that lens,
Sure.
That's what taught me marketing instead of funnel building, because I thought I was going to get fired for the first while.
So for that, did he teach you, okay, hey, this is wrong? Or did you have to sort of figure it out when you did those rebuilds? Like, how was that learning process right there?
No, yeah, he did. He would bring me in and I would show him his funnel, because I was sitting there. I'd be like, hey, that funnel's ready for you to look at. And be like, cool, give me 2 minutes. And then I'd bring up all the pages and he'd be like, yes, no, good, bad, terrible. My gosh, what were you thinking? He'd be like, blah, 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 blah. He's like, looks pretty, won't convert. I love that, hate this, boom, boom, boom. And he would like specific elements on the pages, shifting layout. And as time went by, he'd be like, okay, Steven, for today's plan. And he'd draw out the funnel on a whiteboard like we still do. You draw it out and you'd be like, okay, on this page, remember that page you made 2 months ago on the back of this funnel? Remember that one section? I'd be like, yeah, I do. He's like, cool, that's the section I want here. And then we would, because we just spoke each other's language and got to piece together, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Awesome, man. That's so cool. So was that before, or this was during the time, or when was the time when you had found out that your wife still wasn't eating a lot? Like, was this way before this, or where was that in relation to this?
That was way before. Yeah, that was like 6 or 7 years before.
Oh, okay. So it'd been some time. So that was way early when you were still experimenting and trying to figure everything out.
Yeah, timeline was like 2011 we got married. and it was like, that's when the non-eating thing was going on. Those first 2 years was like super rough. And I went through probably my first 7 or 8 tries during those 2 years. I only learned about what funnels were by try 17. And then personal tries, it was another 17 funnels before one really blew up.
Why do you think she stuck with you, man?
Right?
Yeah, I mean, they're a great dude and everything, but like what?
No, I know. I've had the same, I'll be like, I think after a while, she could just tell I wasn't gonna stop. This is in my bones. Entrepreneurship in general,
Right.
Yeah.
And that success was on the way? Or?
There was no promise of that actually at all. Her parents were entrepreneurs and she saw them struggle quite a bit, which is where some of the fear came from, which is totally understandable.
Sure.
So it was rough. What I got good at was, because it's pretty standard to be away from your apartment when you're in college, I got good at getting my homework done in 2 to 3 hours a day. Then I'd spend the rest of the day on funnels. And that's really where I built a lot of this.
Interesting.
Foundation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So when you decide, so fast forward now back to ClickFunnels, when you decide to leave, I believe I've seen a couple places that you said, and I could be wrong, that some of that had to do is you felt like you had imposter syndrome because you had actually done so much of what you were sort of preaching to some degree. Was that true? Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, one of the reasons I left, I did have a little imposter syndrome. I was teaching Russell Brunson's fat events, the funnel hackathon events. They're 3-day events, and these people would pay 18 grand to be in the room for 3 days. And what happened was I was like, hey, Russell, there should be some, he was coaching his inner circle one day. He leaned back and he's like, just like taking a break, turned off his camera, turned off his mic, and just took a break for a moment. I was like, you're saying the same thing to everybody. He goes, I know. I was like, what if we basically came up with the idea, what if we came up with this thing where they go through this thing before they get to you, that we could take them from here up rather than from the ground all the way up. So I went through 12 years of his stuff, and it took 6 months, and it was grueling work. It was a lot of fun though. And I was like, in this video, from this minute and second to this minute and second, you talk about this, and it should go before this. There's a massive spreadsheet that I put together holding all this. And then I organized it into the order that makes sense to learn those things in. That became Two Comma Club Coaching Program, the first one. And that's where the fat event came from. He did it the first time. And then after that, I was like, you know what? I begged him. I was like, dude, please let me. I had never done really stage ever, but I knew the topic really well, obviously. And I was like, please let me be the guy to go up in your place when you don't want to. And that was one of the only reasons they launched it, because he can't take 3 days every quarter to go do the event,
Right, for sure.
So it was this big internal moment for me because I begged my way to that stage, and then I was like, well, it's time to put up, and I was super freaked out. I didn't have stage legs. I was still acting as Steven, not Steve. There was so many. That was a very transitional moment for me. And what happened was, though, the whole focus of it was to teach a webinar. I had never done a webinar, and therefore the imposter syndrome, right? So I'm going in and I was teaching this stuff, and people were having success, and then I started doing more things on the side in the evenings and way early mornings, and started launching some of my own stuff, and there were times where I was making more money on my own than at ClickFunnels again, and it was like, boom. And so I started teaching some lessons I was learning, and the success rate of the students went up a little bit. I think it's just because I could tell personal stories. I remember though, there was this moment where I had just finished a fat event, and I realized like, I would never in my life learn from somebody who's overweight how to lose weight. I would never in my life learn from somebody who was poor how to make money. But I was like, I feel like that's what I'm doing on some of this. Like, and so that was a tough call, man. That was one of the hardest decisions of my entire life. I was like, I need to leave to do webinars so that I have my money where my mouth is. And that was like the imposter syndrome reason I left. There was a lot of other reasons why it just made sense. But yeah, that's why it happened.
So what gave you the confidence to step out like there? Because man, that's a security blanket and a half, you know?
Oh yeah.
So why did you just like, yes, I'm gonna, just the belief in yourself? Or was it just like, what was the actual thing that made you say, I'm doing it?
You know, my pattern when I worked there was, I didn't do this the entire time, but most of it I did. I woke up at 5, I'd be at the office at 6, I'd work on my stuff from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then Russell's from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go hang out with the family till about 8, and then from 9 p.m. to midnight, keep working on my own stuff. So squeezing out about 5 to 6 hours a day on my own stuff on top of doing Russell's funnels. And I did that a lot. I mean, that was, and I couldn't imagine a world where I wouldn't build my own things.
Sure.
And you know, there was a little bit of I just felt like I wasn't going to be able to go too much further.
Really? Felt like there was a ceiling, huh?
Which a little bit,
Yeah.
which might have just been a false perception of my own. It was nothing that ClickFunnels, you know, but like just of my own. I was like, in order for me to experience, because I started realizing like, well, dang man, I'm doing this stage thing and I'm learning how to do it. And I was studying stage in the evenings and learning how to speak and learning how to have influence on a stage and stuff like that. And it's like, well, if I learned how to do that, and this was a scary thing for me, what would happen if I just jumped, you know, build the parachute while I land?
Sure.
Right. And I do not recommend that for anyone who's watching or listening to this now. I left and I had no product, no revenue streams, no funnel. And I was like, if that's how I'm going to leave, I'm going to do it in the most like epic way I can possibly imagine. Right. And so that, anyway, that was extremely scary. I didn't exactly explain the scenario to my wife at that time.
I was gonna say, how did that work? Did you ever say, did the conversation happen? I mean, it had to have a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
come on, right?
I came back home and I was like, hey, I'm going to leave. And she's like, oh, really? You're actually, because we had flirted with the idea back and forth, because it's too much in my bones to be on my, you know, and I was like, I gotta head out. I mean, so I walked through the plan. I was like, look, I've been teaching webinars. I know that webinars work. I've had tons of students who are making so much more money than I was at the time, which there was a little bit of like, you know, when
Right? I feel you.
like, oh man, you made it in a month, but I'm getting paid in a year. Oh, okay. Whew.
And you know
Right.
you could do it.
I knew I could do it. You know, I almost had 500 funnels under my belt by that time. I was like, that's not going to be the issue. I see the patterns that cause the success. And so I kind of explained it to her and she's like, okay, if you think. She was freaking out, you know, understandably. And we got this, we can do it. It's all good. Here we go. I was like, just so you know though, the first 2 months, please don't expect on seeing me. I'm just going to go hard. And she was like, yeah, sounds good. You know, cause we gotta like eat, you know?
Right.
So that's how it happened.
So, I went to Offermind and it was amazing. Great event. You did an excellent job. It was just all around, just awesomely done. Everything about it was great. What's your next step, man? What's the next evolution of Steve? What's your game plan?
Well, I'll still keep doing Offermind each year. It's because of those early fat events. I realized that it was nice on a podcast. Russell was like, dude, you belong on stage. And I was like, that really meant a lot to me. He said that. Stage, for some reason, that's where I get the fastest impact on people, with the most long-term result. You know, it's like, anyway, I'll keep doing Offermind. I know I'll have a mastermind, but I really want it to be different than what everyone else launches a mastermind. It's like same thing. You know, like, I don't want to do that. Same reason I didn't call it OfferCon or Offer Live. Everyone calls it, drives me nuts. Like, let's have some originality here. So I called it Offermind. I'll have a mastermind. I know that software is in my future. I just know that.
Do you have any ideas about what you're thinking, or?
Not really. I mean, there's like a list that I'm just kind of walking through, and it's not like I'm not gonna start it now. I know that I'll write a book, but for me, this is like it's like a art piece. It's not just for sales like a lot of books are that are written now. I want it to be like expert secrets. So it'll take me a while. I know it will. Anyway, that's kind of the near future.
Yeah, because like it probably doesn't seem like it because so much has happened in the last 2, 3, 4 years for you, but you're still in the infancy of your evolution of what you're going to become. When I look at what you're doing and the potential you have, I mean, like if I already had my funnel and webinar and done, I would have signed up for OfferLab, dude. That was it was literally one of the best offers at a mastermind type or an event. I mean, that I've seen. It was so good because I love the fact that you were like, I'm tired of people failing in funnels. We're going to walk you through every step. I'm going to give you my team along the way so that you can make sure you're successful. I'm just excited to see what comes out of there. Some of the things that are going to be created are going to be amazing. Yeah,
we're having students with quite a bit of success. It's actually really fun.
And have you guys started having some good success already?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I got tired of people, like I realized that half of what I've been requiring of people is that they need to be a funnel nerd like you and I to have success. Right. And it's like, you just want to run your business, right? So let me build your funnel. And I've never offered that. So anyway, I don't know. Like as far as the future goes, like I have a marketing degree, but the marketing that actually makes money is very different, right? I almost finished an entrepreneurship degree. I was like one class away, but the entrepreneurship I do is very different that actually works. And I feel like I want to be this crossover gap because a lot of it came from me just piecing this stuff together and learning at the feet of giants, right? Not everyone's gonna have that opportunity. And so I'm like, well, and the role that I was serving in ClickFunnels, it doesn't even exist anymore. It's very unique. I know it is. And so I feel kind of almost like a duty to share stuff that people are just not gonna be able to get. And so that's what I feel like my role is to kind of be that bridge back and forth moving forward. It'll be through several mediums, but yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
Are you going to stay Offer or are you going to evolve probably somewhat?
I'll probably stay Offer, but through several different ways though. Luckily, if you sell anything ever, you need an offer.
Right, it's an unlimited amount of potential clients. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. I know we have time coming up here. One last question. So this is going to be a tough one. If ClickFunnels gets $1 billion evaluation, will Russell sell?
Oh, I don't know. Because
you weren't expecting that, were you?
No, actually.
Have you heard this? Have you heard that rumors going around, stuff like that?
Oh, I mean, he and I chat about it in his office.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing that I look at that. If he got $1 billion, that's at least 10 or 15 years of what he'd make running ClickFunnels or something, guessing. I'm just totally speculative.
Sure, yeah.
So as much as it would kill me that he would do that because I'm ClickFunnels just like you, I can't see how he wouldn't. It's to some degree. I don't know, give me a little, give me something.
I don't know. I think he wants the valuation more than the sale. He just wants the ability to go like, it's $1 billion company, because he's been working his face off. It's funny, most of the world is just hearing about him. The pace that you move when you are part of that company is breathtaking. Most people could not hack it.
Sure.
And he has that way. And it is a no joke environment. He runs so much harder than the average human could ever bear. And he's been doing it for 17 years, so I'm like, part of me, I'm like, dude, just sell out, like go live on a beach, man. You have changed the world. You've blessed humanity. And then there's this other part where he and I've talked about, it's like, what would you do besides this? It's like, I don't know. And he's like, I don't know. Like, so it's as much of a question as mine as it is anybody else's, because it's not like, anyway, yeah, that's really all I have, because we'll talk about it frequently. And he's like, it's a fun goal. He's an athlete. He's a competitor. He wants to just hit the next thing. And I know for him, that's part of it. So it's as much of a person.
It's more like the reaffirmation of like, this is it, you know, that I got that goal. I've got that notch in my belt type.
Yeah. He just wants, part of it, I know he wants to just join that club. He's competitive and wants to do it, which is great. Good for him. He should, you know. But as far as actually selling, I have no idea, because I'm conflicted around that too.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so much.
Yeah, it is.
And I know that he that's his dream, his baby, but again, like, how could you pass that up? I mean, it's an amazing amount of money and opportunity. So
yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, well, again, I believe that was our time we had here. I wanted to be respectful, and thank you so much, man. These are great. I'm glad I got some insight in some of your life and journey that I don't think I ever would have if I hadn't been able to speak to you like this.
Well, I have tremendous respect for you, man. I think you're amazing. Love the value you're popping in. I see you, you know, I see you, and it's super cool. And so it's an honor being on here.
Oh, well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
I definitely consider you a friend and a great guy, and I wish you nothing but a great journey ahead.
Oh, thanks, you too, man. Really appreciate it. From funnel nerd to funnel nerd. I don't have the tattoo, but I'll get on it.
Awesome, man. Well, I'll be at the next Offermind, and I'll definitely see you at Funnel Hacking Live, I'm sure. So
awesome.
We'll go ahead and close out. Funnel Syndicate, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And Funnel Doc out.
He runs so much harder than the average human could ever bear. And he's been doing it for 17 years, you know? So I'm like, part of me, I'm like, dude, just sell out. Like, go live on a beach, man. You have changed the world. You've blessed humanity. And then there's this other part where he and I've talked about. It's like, what would you do besides this, you know?